Hello and a very good day everyone. So today we will learn on how we can actually prepare a P&L statement, profit and loss statement in our Power BI. Basically what you can see in this particular file, we do have a fictional company, Allen Perfume Sales Sedan Berhad. So this is the revenue worksheet which has the revenue from the month of January up to December, and they have many different segments like from consumer beauty, distribution, luxury products, marketing, professional beauty, and so on. And then we also have COGS or cost of goods sold. So basically this is the raw material and this is the cost of sales. And we also have the OPEX segment whereby we have the operating expenses for each department. So what I'm going to do is I need to actually go to my Power BI and I need to go to blank report, because this is where in my Power BI my manager want to see the P&L items. So I'm going to click import data from Excel. You will notice that a box will appear. So by pressing import data from Excel, we need to know where we save the file, what is our file name, and so on. So I save in documents, and then after that I'll go to 22nd November. I'm going to click it over here, and then you will notice that a box will appear. So basically in this particular file, it is where that I have the COGS, OPEX and revenue. So I'm just going to click all these things. So you don't have to tick one by one. You just tick this and then you press shift, you press revenue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to transform data. By going to transform data, you will notice that eventually we will be navigated to Power Query Editor. So what I need to do is I need to do data cleaning. So I'll remove this first column. Since this first column is not necessary, I'm going to remove this. And then we do have some rows that has null. What you can do is you can actually remove the rows that is blank. Okay, so I'm going to click it over here, remove blank row. Just like that, whatever rows that has null, it will be removed. However, if you notice, like these two columns, they have the null. So what I'm going to do is I need to select this first two column, right click, and then I'm going to press fill down. So once I press fill down, so now this is our data. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put use first row as header. So use first row as header, but I don't want this null. I don't want this blank activities because we do have overlapping January, February. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I want to unselect the null. I scroll down and I will unselect the brands and activity, and I press OK. So by pressing OK, so now you'll notice that we have a clean data. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to select the first three columns, right click, unpivot other columns. So right now we do have this data, main group, subgroup, brand activities, and this one here I'll put here the months. Over here I want to put as numbers. So I'm going to click as whole number. There you go. So I have already cleaned the revenue data set. What's next? Let's go to COGS. So COGS, we do have this raw data, but it's just that we need to do some minor cleaning whereby I want to format the date column into a proper months column. So I'm going to click here date so that we have a proper date column. And then from here, what I want to do is I want to add column. So I'm going to click add column. I click the date. I press name of month. So I press name of month. So there you go. So we do have the month name. And then I go to transform. I click split column. So split by number of characters because I want the first three letters. I click it over here, and then you will notice, okay, I'll put here number of characters. Once as far left, I press OK. So now we do have these characters over here. Okay, wait, let me just do one more time so that you can see clearly. So I'm going to select this column over here, split column, and then I will go to by number of characters, and then I'll put 3 once as far left, and then I press OK. So now we have already separated the data. So let me click it over here. Let me just press delete. So now we have the month name. So this one is basically I want to create the data modeling, and then from there we can create a report. Then I go to OPEX. So OPEX also our data is clean. It's just that I want the months to appear in one column. So right click and I'll just press unpivot other column. So over here I put here the months, and here is the value. So now we have revenue, we have COGS, we have OPEX. Since we have already cleaned the data set, what I'm going to do next is before I go to home and close and apply, I want to click the revenue, and I want to right click and I want to duplicate the query because I actually want a dedicated data set just to show the months. So what I'll do is under home, I click choose column. I will unselect all columns, select the months, press OK. So now we have this data over here. What I'm going to do is I want to remove the duplicates. So remove the duplicates. So now we have the months, and then I go to add column, and then I'm going to click on index column. So regardless of the sequencing, the purpose of index column is to let the Power BI knows that we want to sort this column by a sequence, not by alphabetical order, because this month's column is basically under text format. So apparently when you just say you sort, so just say when I click here sort ascending, you will notice it will sort in an alphabetical order, not in a proper sequence. So what I'm going to do is, so this is my data, I'll rename this as date dataset. Okay, so now we do have this data set. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to home and close and apply. So once I press close and apply, you will eventually notice we will be navigated to the Power BI. Back to Power BI. So what we need to do next is, before we create any visual, we want to actually understand if there's a relationship. So I go to model view. So under model view, you will notice there's a relationship. But of course, I don't want this inactive relationship between revenue and OPEX. So I'm going to press here right click and delete. So what you will notice is there is a relationship between revenue dataset and date dataset. There is also a relationship between OPEX dataset and date dataset. But there is no relationship between COGS and date. So I'm going to click this and I bring it over here. So right now you'll notice a box will appear. It is many to one and I'm going to press save. So now this will be the dataset that has the months, because if you notice carefully, let me just click it over here. So just say I expand my revenue, I just click a visual, I click by the value and the months. What you will notice is eventually it will actually show us the sequence, but not in a proper order, because Power BI by default it will actually sort the data from largest to smallest. So even if just say I sort the axis by months and I sort it in a proper order, which is ascending order, you will notice right now it will sort in an alphabetical order. This is not what I want. So what I want right now is, let me just remove this. I want to actually sort it in a proper sequence like January, February, March. In order to do so, I need to expand the date data set, click the months. So when I click it over here, I go to sort by column and sort by index. The purpose of why we have the index is to tell Power BI, instead of sorting by months, we need to sort by index. And then there you go. So now I'm going to click on this matrix and I will select the months. So right now you will notice we have January until December. I'll put it in the columns. So now this is how it looks like. What I'm going to do next is, under this data set, I'm going to create a new measure. So a new measure, I'm going to name it as revenue. Revenue and sum. So sum of what? Sum of the RM or sum under the revenue data set. So we have revenue where we have the value column. I click it over here, close bracket, enter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this revenue. So this revenue, and then what I'm going to do is, this is the revenue. Then I click a new measure again. So new measure, and this one I want to calculate the COGS. So COGS means cost of goods sold. So the sum under the COGS. So COGS, we do have the value column. So I'm going to go here and find the value column, because if you look here carefully, under COGS, we do have the COS. So I'm going to click the data set again and new measure, COGS, sum. So sum of COGS. And then I want to multiply with -1. And then I'm going to press enter. So once I press enter, you will notice, okay, since we do have a COGS, since the data set, so what I'm going to put is, maybe I'm going to put as total COGS. Because we have a data set, so here, COGS and enter. So now if just say I tick it over here, you will notice here we have revenue, here we have total COGS. So if just say I want it to appear by the rows, what I can do is I go to format your visual, and then over here under the values, what I'll do is I'll scroll down, I click option and switch the value into rows rather than columns. So now we have the revenue and COGS. So here, so I can just put here total revenue. Okay, so here we have total revenue, total COGS. The next thing what I'm going to do is, okay, since we do have an additional initial measure, so I'm going to put here gross profit. Okay, equal. So gross profit is basically your revenue minus COGS. So I have a revenue over here, total revenue, and I minus the COGS. But bear in mind, when minus and minus, it will become positive. So before I minus, I need to put ABS, and then I put here close bracket, and I enter. So right now we have a gross profit. So let me take it over here. So we have a gross profit. Then what I'm going to do next is another new measure. So this one to calculate the total OPEX. So I'm going to go to new measure, OPEX. OPEX means operating expenses, or I can put total OPEX. And over here is the sum of OPEX. So OPEX we have value and then multiply with -1 because operating expenses COGS is where the cash outflow is, where it reduces your revenue and so on. So I'm going to press enter and I want to take the total OPEX. So right now we have total OPEX over here, and then last one I'm going to click on new net profit. So this is net profit and this is the sum. Okay, so basically what is just the gross profit minus your total OPEX. And then just like that, we have the data. So I'm going to click on net profit and there you go. What I'm going to do next is, I don't want it to be in this format because this format, the problem is my manager doesn't understand. So I need to convert into a proper accounting format. I can click like this, but my manager, what he wants is, he wants the negative, instead of negative, he wants a bracket. So I go to model view and I expand this data set. So I need to actually select, okay, I need to expand this. I select the gross profit, press the shift button, select total revenue. I select all these properties, format, instead of whole number, I want to sort in a format, in a custom format. And under the custom format, I'll put here hashtag. The hashtag represents a number. Comma represents thousand separator, 0. And then semicolon, open bracket, because the semicolon will actually separate the positive and negative. So I put here hashtag, comma, 0, and then close bracket, semicolon, and I'll just put dash for any 0 and so on, because here is positive, negative, and break even. So once I press this, here you go. So I go to my report view. You will notice right now it is in a proper format. What I want to do next is, I actually want to increase the size because the values here is very small. My manager cannot see, so I'm going to put here 13. So when I put 13, now you can see this is the size. So this is the size of the data. Okay, so my manager can see. And then if just say I want to put it, okay, maybe I reduce to 12. Okay, so now it looks better. And I go to column header, I put here 12. And then under row header, I put here 12. So right now it looks better. And if just say you want to change the layout, yeah, you can change the layout, up to you. So maybe I want to put as bold header and flashy rows. So now this is how it looks like. But I don't want to show the total. So what I'm going to do is, I want to remove the column subtotal. So just like that, now my manager can see the data. But if just say you want to make a middle align from the column headers, so yeah, you can just make it middle align. And there you go. So now this is my data, whereby we do have total revenues, COGS, OPEX, and so on. So now, if just say my manager want to see a graph, so I can click over here and I will just take the months and I take the net profit. So now this is the data, and what I can do is, I can just expand this and I can put the data labels. So I click here and on the data labels. So now my manager can see this is the trend for the net profit and this is the breakdown. So we have total revenue, COGS, gross profit, OPEX, net profit. So this is the breakdown. So 10.3, 10.3, 11 million, 11 million, and so on. And what I can do next is, I can also create a slicer. So I'll just create a new slicer over here. And of course, we do have revenue. So what I can do is, okay, since we do have a revenue, so maybe I'll just put by the main group. Okay, so we do have like consumer. So when I click this, so we notice, okay, so this is how the performance is, distribution, luxury, and so on. So we can actually put this maybe in perhaps in a proper different format. So maybe I'm going to go to format your visual. I go slicer settings and I put here drop down. So in a drop down, and the values I want to increase to 20 so that looks bigger. Slicer header, so I put here 20. Okay, so now this is my slicer. Okay, let me just adjust this accordingly. So I have a slicer. I want to copy this and paste. And I also want a COGS. Maybe I want to know the vendor. So I unselect this and I select the vendors. So we do have all the vendors that we have, like Beauty Veritas. So yeah, like some months they are not there. Coty, or maybe instead of vendors, I want by raw materials, because I want to know how much is the raw materials. So yeah, we do have all the raw materials like aroma chemicals, cosmetic chemicals, cosmetic product, custom clearance, and so on. Okay, so now this is the thing. And then maybe I also want another slicer just for the expenses. So I just click it over here. So now this is the data. And then what I'll do is, perhaps this is the raw material. So I unselect raw materials. I go to OPEX. And what I do is, I'll just select the expenses. So we have all the expenses. So we can just play around bonus and so on. Or if you don't want expenses, you can play around with OPEX category. So this is how it looks like. So you can just play around. And there you go. Alright, so now we have a slicer and this. But what if just say your manager wants it in a, like a combo chart? That means maybe the line graph represents the net profit, the bar chart represents the revenue. So in this case, what you can do is you can actually click it over here. So we have a line and stack column chart. So I'm going to click this. So in this case, let maybe put the net profit as the line chart. So this is the net profit we can see over here. And then I put the total revenue over here. So the manager can see, okay, so this is the revenue and the line chart represent the net profit. So you can actually change the title. What you can do is go to format your visual, general, and under title, you can just put the performance. So financial performance from Jan to December, and then you can put a financial year FY24. So you can put it, and you want to put it at the center, you can put it here as middle alignment. Okay, so you put it center. So there you go. And you want to increase the size, you can increase the size to 20. And this is how it looks like. So basically, you can actually prepare a P&L statement, even though it is located in 3 different files, 3 different worksheets, but you can actually prepare a financial performance that shows the P&L items, the profit and loss items, which has the revenue, the COGS, profit, total OPEX, and net profit.